Whenever two parties, three parties, whatever, they are entering into any kind of agreement, what they are basically doing here is that they are promising to each other to either perform certain things under the agreement or refrain from performing certain activities under the agreement. This promise to perform things, these are called positive covenants, and this promise to refrain from performing things is called negative or restrictive covenants. So every agreement will have a set of positive covenants and a set of negative or restrictive covenants. Covenants are nothing in general parlance. What you call a clause in a contract or the obligations in a contract, those are the same things that you can refer to them as covenants. Can you give me some examples of one clause which is a positive covenant or and another clause, one simple clause which is a restrictive covenant? Can anybody give me just one each example? Okay, Rashmi, to pay rent in time, this is a positive covenant. ठीक है? Okay. Negative covenant, payment obligation. Very good, Survi. Confidentiality, it's a negative covenant. Not to tamper with the property, it's a negative covenant. Okay. Vineet, the question is simple. I want an example of one positive clause or positive covenant and one negative covenant, restrictive covenant, basically. Very good, very good. All of you mostly know the answer. No, Kadir, not the entire agreement clause. Entire agreement is not one clause, right, Kadir? We have different clauses in an agreement, right? So you can divide these into two types. One, a promise to do something, okay, and a promise to not to do something. The obligations or the covenants are of two types here. Okay? So, simple example, suppose consideration of payment clause. Under payment clause, what do you undertake? That I will pay this so and so money within this stipulated period of time, right? It is a promise to do something. When it comes to your confidentiality clause, what do you undertake? That whatever information, in simple language, let's understand this, whatever you are sharing with me, it's going to be like top-notch secret between us. I will not disclose this to any XYZ third party. It is restricting you from doing certain. Okay? So all these clauses that you see, that non-compete, non-solicit, confidentiality, any clause which basically restricts you from doing anything, it can be taken as a negative or restrictive covenant. And any clause where you basically affirm that you're going to take up certain things positively or take this up within the stipulated time period, these can be concluded as a positive covenant. Okay? Simple thing. So why the point of explaining this is, one, you undertake to do something or you undertake to not do something. Now the second part goes like, either you do basically what you have promised to do, you have not done it, and what you have promised to not do, you have done it basically. That is the simple explanation of breach. Okay. So what is a breach? Is something that I have promised, I have not done it. Okay. I promised to pay you rent on time, I am not paying you the rent on time. Simple, it's a breach. Now in respect of this breach, a party, whoever is the non-breaching party, I mean the party who has obviously taken up all his obligations, is a good person basically. Okay? So that person can claim for damages whatsoever because of the breach that has been committed by the other party. So this is a simple concept of your breach obligation remedies. Okay? Just understand this simple hierarchy and you will be able to, this is going to aid you in the drafting. Okay? Now whenever the concept of breach comes into perspective, in drafting a very important term or a concept comes into view. It's called material breach. Okay? Why material breach is important? Very simple, just understand. If today I am entering into a commercial contract which has a huge monetary, implication. Commercial contracts 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 300 rupees ka nahi hota hai, right? Commercial contracts include a lot of monetary consequences. Today, if any single thing goes wrong or not according to my perspective and I try to basically term them as breach, never this contract is going to get practically executed in time. That is why it is very, very, very important, absolutely, from a commercial contract perspective, that always maintain to define the material breach and basically nothing else. Okay, don't draft a vague definition of breach is what I'm trying to say. What is this material breach? Let me give you a very, very simple example. Okay, very simple example. I have ordered a t-shirt, okay, and I have placed the order for the t-shirt as a green color t-shirt, okay, and say medium size t-shirt. Everything is okay, all okay, medium size, timely delivery has been done and everything is there. Instead of basically the shade of green that I ordered, I get a different shade of green or a different color, let's say, altogether. Okay? But to my purpose, this change of color is not going to be very much important. Okay? The quality is no issue, the size is no issue, it's fitting me absolutely fine. Instead of suppose a green t-shirt, I have gotten a yellow t-shirt, but it is not going to hamper my life or my presentation in any form. Okay? So what I can decide here is that, chalo koi baat nahi, green ki jagah it's yellow, I can wear it very well, I'm looking good, like I'm a beautiful person, as good as I look in green, I'm looking like good in yellow also. Okay, fine, simple as that, it's not doing me any harm, okay, so I decide to go with the yellow. And simple thing is, in commercial contracts, if you think that today if I try to point out problems with every nominal breach, suppose the payment is supposed to come to me on 5th. It for some reason comes to me on 7th. I decide this 2-day delay, let me term it as a breach and let me start taking action. Practically, this contract will never ever get executed. So this is basically your first task, okay, as a person who can draft properly, okay, is to identify that what kind of breach will have actual consequences on the contract, okay, and term them, specifically carve them out, call them out and define them as a material breach. Okay, otherwise tomorrow practically a commercial contract can never ever get executed in time, and it is very, very, very essential for commercial contracts in practice to get executed in time. Okay, always remember. So first thing is to call out the material breach, okay, and just clarify in the definition part that these are going to be the material breaches. Okay, so that's it. It's a very simple concept, but when you actually practically look at a lot of drafts of seniors also, I'm not even kidding, this definition of breach I have found, I mean events of default or anything, you know, when they define this, it is so vague literally that when it comes to execution, it becomes a very practical problem. If you hear this today, no, it sounds very, very simple, okay? But tomorrow when you try to basically capture this, no, and you miss, these are very simple things when it comes to day-to-day drafting. You will see when you try to draft this entire contract for a client tomorrow. These are the very small things that actually initially you are going to miss and you are going to learn throughout. Okay, so this is the reason why I am trying to point these out from beforehand, okay?